Hello world, I'm Stelios and this is Punctuation. So let's dive right in. The problem's name is punctuation, and the reason for that is that all it does, it requires you to take in some input from standard in and apply some basic punctuation rules to it. Namely, all you really have to do is find all the commas and periods and then add a space after those, which is a common convention in pretty much every text editor we use nowadays. And then it also requires that the first letter after every period in the input is also capitalized. So if it's found lowercase, you have to capitalize it. If it's already capitalized, you should just leave it as is. So I'm going to talk about the libraries I include here in a minute, where I actually make the function calls that correspond to each one. But let's walk through the code from the beginning. So the first thing I do is use cs50.h's getString function that all it does is reads input and stores it in the string I call text. So that's pretty much all we need in terms of input. Then I define two variables. So the first one, C, I'll just use to hold the next character in the string as I'm traversing it. Second one, integer counter, I'll initialize at 0 and then increment each time I move on in the string, so I know exactly where I am located. And then here's the meat of the program. So there's many ways to do this. You could use string length. I chose not to do that because I think my way is faster, in the sense that we don't have to count the length of the string as well as traversing it later. So a good alternative to string length is looking for the null terminator, which we know is appended automatically by getString. So what I do is just, starting from text 0, which is the first character in the input, I get it and store it in C, and then I while loop until the character I'm getting is the null terminator. You can see here that I'm incrementing the counter each time the while loop ends. So, well, the first thing I do in the while loop is print the character, because as you will notice if you read the problem carefully, you never need to do anything with a character, no matter what it is, before you print it. Let me make this a bit more clear. No matter what character you read, no matter if it's a punctuation symbol or anything else, special symbol or not, you don't have to do anything with it until you have printed it. So even if you see a period or a comma, you first have to print it and then print the space, and then again, if you see a period, the next letter is what you have to capitalize. So the first thing I do in the while loop is print the character I'm reading right now, and then I apply my two modifications, which are one line each. So on this line, I'm asking, is C a comma or a period? And if so, I'm printing, right after I'm printing the comma or period itself, I'm printing a space, so that the output looks exactly like the input, but with a space after the period or the comma. The second thing I do is, well, if C was a period, I've already printed the space. I'm going to look at the next character in the input text. That would be text counter +1. And I'm going to capitalize it. Now the way I'm going to do that, I guess the hard way to do that is try to figure out if the next character is a letter and then find its ASCII value, then decide if it's lowercase or uppercase, and if it's lowercase, subtract a constant to make it uppercase. But there's no need to do that because we already have a function that does that, that's called toUpper. So that's why I'm including ctype here. So ctype.h has a function toUpper that its sole purpose in life is take in a character and make it uppercase only if it is lowercase. So it does exactly what I wanted to do and nothing more. And then, well, I increment the counter just to move on in the string. So let's see an example. So one of the sample inputs was this. You can see there are no spaces after commas, there are no spaces after periods. And what it's supposed to look like is this. So you can see we found the comma, we appended a space, we found a dot, we put a space there, and we also capitalized the T. So let's see it in action. I'm going to go to my terminal and do make punctuation. Punctuation is up to date, so punctuation input 1. And you can see input 0, 1, our program did exactly what it's supposed to do. It looks exactly like output 0, 1. Cool. This is punctuation.